Welcome back to the channel. As always, I'm Stannis. I enjoy talking about finances and showing my personal road to wealth to hopefully inspire others on starting their own journey as well. Ever since I started investing, I've been told by other investors and people who have either worked in finance or spent a lot of time on the subject that you should allocate your buying power accordingly to your risk tolerance. Risk tolerance is the level of risk an investor is willing to take. Risk tolerance can be seen on many investing apps such as Acorns, which give you the option to choose from a variety of potential paths that either increase or decrease the amount of risk for a given portfolio. They show options like conservative, moderate, and aggressive. The main differences between them is that how the portfolio will grow over time. So for conservative portfolios, you're less likely to lose your initial investment, but you will also miss out on greater returns. For the aggressive accounts, you're more likely to lose some money on your initial investment, but you will receive a greater return on your investment if it does happen to go up. If you decide to choose a riskier investment over conservative ones, then you will have to deal with scenarios that you did not imagine yourself getting into in the beginning. I mention this because your outcome will vary considerable amount over a conservative path. Volatility, lack of familiarity, leverage, limited time horizon, and current status of your life will all go into what makes an investment risky. Volatility has to deal with the liability to change rapidly and oftentimes for the worse. With the lack of familiarity, you are allowing the process to take you for a ride instead of controlling the operation. This will lead to unexpected occurrences that may hinder the likelihood of your investments being profitable, if at all. That's why it's important to do some research on your investment or something you're about to go do to avoid common losses, find potential problems, and if the risk will be worth the return even after you have found the information. Leverage can increase your gains rapidly or decrease them just as fast. Usually can be attained by borrowing money from banks or brokerages. Keep in mind they won't be given out for free and will be packed with a certain amount of interest. The lowest interest rate I have seen currently is around 4%. Simple. So all you have to do is be a 4% return and you'll be profiting on your money, right? Or you could end up losing more money due to you borrowing money and your investment declining in value. Either way you look at it, you have to be willing to deal with both the realities and be willing to move on from your result of that action. The amount of time you delegate to see an investment grow is related to its potential riskiness as well. The more time is allocated decreases the risk, but less time increases the risk of your situation. Your current position in life also determines the necessity for any risk to be taken. If you're homeless and have nothing to lose, it would seem that betting on the extreme choices in life are the best option. Almost like a last shot to make it all type of scenario where you either have it all if you win or have nothing if you lose. I believe this should only be taken if you lack a substantial amount of time with nothing to lose, because if failed, it will result in a less than successful life burdened with debt and other chains that will increase the difficulty of your escape to freedom. Despite being labeled boring and unattractive, low-risk investments can still provide a reasonable benefit to you. This option is meant for saving your money and preventing the loss of your principal investment. Realistically, you won't be seeing that much of a return, but you will at least maintain the amount of money you have saved. Conservative actions are the best used when you will be needing the money within the coming future and you are not willing to take a potential loss in the short term. A drawback of being too conservative will result in missing out on greater returns if you intend to invest in such a manner for your long-term goals. Older people tend to gravitate to this method more often due to its capability of maintaining the money they have previously made in their youth. When it comes to gambling, this is one of the higher risks a person can take since the odds are in front of you and you're able to potentially make a lot of money most of the time by doubling your initial investment, or you can lose the principal investment in its entirety. This feeling of doubling your money almost instantly is definitely a great feeling, but once you win, most people do not want to stop there and will continue to play until they have lost all their money. This is the most common outcome. Or that person happens to beat the odds and makes a substantial amount of money and leaves for the day. Big winners are among us, but losers will always be more apparent. I think it's a waste of time in its entirety because even if you win in gambling, you will believe that you are somehow gifted and are able to beat the casino consistently. Keep in mind, if you win initially, you will continue to come back until you either lose it all or lose enough to stop having a desire to try and make some real quick money. And once it's all said and done, you have nothing to show for your efforts besides wasted time and money. Be careful of gambling your money and just hoping for return. Remember, if you don't know what you're buying into, you are just gambling and hoping to make money on it. take a look into investments and assess the potential outcomes before buying into them. If you're set on investing into higher risk investments, at least set up more risk-adverse investments such as Roth IRAs and ETFs so you could have the basic starting blocks before just jumping into the weeds and potentially getting discouraged from investing altogether. Everyone wants a higher return, but realistically, professionals cannot beat the S&P consistently, so it's important to have a balanced, safe portfolio before getting very aggressive. Mitigate higher risk actions by understanding the risk you are taking on, determining if it's worth a potential loss, tracking the progress of your risk taking, and if it's matching your goals. But most importantly, do not invest money that you will need in the short term. This will help you undergo critical times without thinking about dropping your investment and taking on huge losses. Understand you are in control of the amount of risk you take on, and if you deem it as too much, then adjusting your risk to meet your preferences will prove to be a good move. My investing style is aggressive, but I do not recommend it to most because I do have a weird circumstance compared to others that doesn't require me to have great amount of money to live. I hold about 85% in individual stocks and about 15% in the top cryptos. I'm constantly asking myself if I'm comfortable with my portfolio and its current status. For the most part I am, but I'm going to begin focusing more on certain stocks than others. As for margin use, I have used it before, but I have stopped it during this downtrending market, but I intend to use some in the future once the market somewhat finds a bottom. Once the bottom solidifies, I'll bring in the margin and just pay the monthly interest payment. I'm currently 22, making about $25,000 a year, so there's still a lot of time for me to invest into the market and give my investments time to grow. $25,000 is most likely the least amount of money I'll be receiving in my life, so if for some reason my investments get smashed, I'll still be able to make a comeback once my income rises. As previously shown in my first YouTube video, I have recently been hit with the negative returns, but I'm able to weather the storm because I don't need the money anytime soon, which is nice. It's important to have a balance in your portfolio, but if you want to reach levels of wealth sooner, you're going to have to get used to more aggressive actions in the way you save and invest.